time and give you a story that is meant to inspire, to move, to touch, to motivate, to get you to think, to get you to hopefully look within yourself and maybe perhaps look at the world around you in a different way. My intention is not to tell you what to think or what to make of the story, but my intention is to give you a story and then you decide what the moral of the story is. So what I'll do is I'll tell you the story and then I'll say at the very end, what's the moral of the story, or the moral of the story is. And that's the time for interaction, for you all to share what your moral of the story is. What I'm going to do today and test out just to see if we get a little bit more openness in sharing with it is I'll hang out for a few minutes and let you all type both on Periscope and on Facebook Live what your moral of the story is, and maybe we can have a little bit of a discussion on it. Because what I've done in the past is I just leave it and I say bye-bye and leave it to you all to type. But I think sometimes we might get a little gun shy when we're over the moment and we have some good thoughts and we have some things to share, but we may not do that because of the moment's past. So my intention today is to share with you this, and then I hope that you all in turn will share with me what your takeaway from it is, and perhaps we can have a little bit of a discussion afterwards. I've blocked out my schedule to give a few more minutes than I normally would for this. So I hope you all find value in this. Without further ado, anybody who's joining in right now, welcome to the moral of the story. We're just getting started, and here's today's story. Once upon a time, there was a young man, and this young man was about 23, 24 years old, and he was riding on a train with his older father. And, you know, it's a typical busy commuter train. There's people around. There was people looking at their newspapers, people standing with their briefcases, people dressed in their business coats and business attire. Very busy time. Everybody's kind of focused in their own world. Some people are reading, some people are, on their phones looking at the news or whatever it is, or angrily posting things on Twitter or Facebook updates, whatever that is. And the young man and the father are riding along, and the young man is kind of gazing out the window just with a fixed stare of intensity. It's almost like he's in his own little world, and at one point he exclaims out loud to his dad. He says, Dad, look at there's trees going by. Look at the trees. And his dad kind of smiles at his son and sits silently, and there's this older couple the next seat over. And they look over at the father, and they look at almost the childlike behavior of the son. And they think, that's kind of peculiar, 24-year-old acting like a little kid, but they say nothing. And so the train continues chugging along, moving down the tracks, and people continue to busy about their days and, absorbed in their books, absorbed in their phones, looking around, thinking only about what they have going on that day. And then a couple more moments go by, and the son excitedly exclaims, Dad, look at the clouds. It's like the clouds are following us. It's like they're racing with us. My God, this is amazing. And the dad looks at his son and smiles. And the older couple, they look over, and finally the husband in the relationship, he can't bite his lip any longer. He looks over at the father and he says, I don't mean to be rude and I don't want to pry, but if I could give you any sort of advice, some good advice, it would be, why don't you find him a really good doctor? Take him in to see a really good doctor, and maybe he can get some help for his condition. The father kind of takes a deep breath and holds his words for a moment. And he looks back at the man and he says, I appreciate your advice. And in fact, we did just that. We're actually coming back on the train from one of the best doctors. You see, my son has been blind since he was born. And today was the first day he got his eyes. Today is the first day that he's able to see the world. Now I leave you all with this. What's the moral of the story? What is your takeaway from this? I would love for you to share, so please